Welcome to FCP Euro. Here we are in the Motorsport Garage. This is where we house our two Volkswagen GTI TCRs, as well as our C300 Endurance Racer right behind me. Now what's special about this space is this is actually part of our headquarters. So right to the right we have our retail center where enthusiasts come in every day to come pick up the parts they need to repair their European car. And what's even better is right behind us is our distribution center. This is where thousands of packages are picked, packed, and shipped every single day to enthusiasts like you around the world. Now, this year has been a little different for us. Due to COVID, we've stayed safe and we've stayed here and we haven't participated in events. That said, we have tried to participate from afar, either digitally or dipping our toes into e-racing and other things like that. Now, next year, we cannot wait to get back out into events and meet all of you in person. So if you just want to browse parts for your European car, or you want to learn more about our motorsports team, please head over to fcpeuro.com.
Get ready for it. Get ready for it. Get ready for it. Yeah, this is it. Go! 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 Yeah, this is it. Go! Let's go! Yeah, this is it. Ready for it. Yeah, this is it. Go! Go! Yeah, this is it. Go! Let's go! This is it.
This weekend, the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe kicks off at Brands Hatch. It's a fantastic, old-school British circuit, and it always delivers great action for the GT3 field. 2 races for the GT3 cars, mandatory pit stops and driver changes, and 2 very jumbled grids after qualifying yesterday. a day late, but happy birthday for yesterday. Secondly, what are we going to look forward to in this first 60 minutes of drama?
Well, I would say, first of all, a lot less drama than we had here on Saturday when the weather was so changeable, so rapidly changeable. Look at those black clouds over Brands Hatch. Half an hour ago, they weren't there. But the key is the ambient temperature is up, and importantly, track temperature is up. So hopefully what we're going to see as a consequence of what took place in qualifying for both these races will be some exciting motor racing.
We look forward to it. The Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit has changed little since it was created. The Indy circuit has that sort of kidney-shaped loop to begin with. Long, fast straight down to Hawthorne, short straight right at Westfield. Pretty bumpy section, plunge downhill, climb up again towards Sheen Curve at the end of Sector 2. And then at the start of Sector 3, the left-hander of Stirling's bringing onto the straight down to Clark Curve in the end of the lap. That corner has been catching people out, and yesterday at the end of the qualifying session for this race, Mirko Bortolotti of all people dropped it at Stirling's.
Ran a wide too early in the exit, got over the curb onto what is actually grass and just earth, and the car began that slow pendulum.
We are about to find out as we are set to go racing round one of Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe from Brands Hatch. Ready to get underway. The cars accelerate out of Clark Curve. The lights will change. The race is Haddock. He can't grab the race lead. He just hangs on the second. Can he cut across and go for the inside? There's drama off the road. 4 cars. Kim Louis Schramm is in the gravel. There on the inside line, there's a Mercedes that's come to grief. We're going to get the safety car inevitably, I'm afraid, with 2 cars in the gravel trap. But Kim Louis Schramm is off the road. There's another car involved as well, as on track and briefly off it, Lukas Stolz leads. Second, it is Bortolotti. But I'm waiting for the balls to come and the yellow flags to fly, because we've had drama right at the very start and the safety car is being deployed. The safety car is being deployed as the cars go onto the Grand Prix loop.
Well, there was all first 4 cars into the Paddock Hill Bend, clean and clear. There you see what's happened, 55 ID. And well, there are 3 other cars that also, some are in that gravel on the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. Some of them may have managed to drive their way through, but 2 of them there completely beached.
So Kim Louis Schramm and Stein Scotthorst are the 2 that are off in the gravel, and that's why the safety car is out. So that's everyone going for the same bit of real estate, I fear, into a tight corner. We'll try and piece it together from the replays, but look at the damage, John. Bits of car in the gravel and 2 graunched Audis.
Well, what can you say? You know, if you're in the middle of the pack, going into Paddock Hill Bend, you can go through 2 wide, but you can't go through 4 wide. We don't know what happened. Maybe somebody went into Paddock, back end steps out, that steps the car out to the left. But clearly, you know, I'm lost for words. For once, I'm lost for words.
It's happened. We made it happen.
Yeah.
Kim Louis Schramm is going no further. That's the car that he would have shared with Frank Stippler. So there it is. You can see damage front and rear. 55. Stein Scotthorst out of the race. That Audi would have been taken over by the Australian driver Nick Foster. There is Kim Louis Schramm getting out of the car. Former German single-seater racer. The start's under investigation, but that tends to be par for the course anyway, to make sure people were complying with the way it should have been done. And Kim Louis Schramm has not had a lot of seat time today, nor has Stein Scotthorst, as the cars now come over the timing line.
I mean, the Tempter racing car was in the 4th row of the grid.
Yeah.
And it was on the 9th. So look,
Here's the replay.
At the front, everything is fine. But look back to the middle, probably 4 or 5 rows back. Something here is about to go dramatically wrong. It's this area now, on the run up into Paddock. Everything is under control. Turn in, everybody is fine. All of a sudden, out of camera side, you don't get quite what actually occurred.
Timo Bogoslawski in the pale blue and white Mercedes in midfield was involved in it somewhere along the line. So they turn into the corner, and Kim Louis Schramm.
Oh, yes. It happened.
Yeah, so Scotthorst gets it wrong. Others take evasive action, and Kim Louis Schramm can't.
Yeah, he was just a passenger. He was simply taking. So 1 car caused the problem. 2 cars altogether, plus 2 others took the long trip round through the gravel. There's bodywork already flying.
So Compact was one that had to go through the gravel in avoidance.
Yeah, but he was so big. Compact was on the 4th row of the grid. He should have been ahead of all this.
Yeah, right. Well, he was alongside, wasn't he? It was a slow start, I'll grant you, but he should have been alongside Scotthorst. But yes, he certainly dropped back. Now this is looking from Nico Bastian's car, so he should be ahead of all the mayhem. He nearly got past Bortolotti, didn't he?
He did, but Bortolotti really closed the door aggressively just to make sure that the Mercedes Bastian wasn't going to take that 2nd place away. And again, Bortolotti looking one way then the other, trying to put pressure onto the back of Lukas Stolz and the Mercedes, but just has to be patient, because you've got to be patient. The problem for Bortolotti is if he sits, the longer he sits behind Lukas Stoltz, the less chance he's going to have of getting through. Markus Winkelhock having a look, and there is a lot of damage to the front of that car.
That's Stephen Palette that's brought that in, so he was the other one off through the gravel, and damage as a consequence. And of course, there's not much repair time between races, so Stephen Palette, I'm afraid, he's out of the race. Timur Boguslavski had a spin on the inside of the circuit, but he is still going. So it's Palette, Skotthorst and Schramm that we have lost. You know, I said at the start of this that Audi had strength in numbers. Well, it's 3 down now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that they're looking at is the bodywork is replaceable. There's lots of accessories that are hanging off the bodywork. That's it, replaceable. It's the front chassis legs that is the problem, that those get damaged. And then there's a bearing on the suspension, the mounting points for the front suspension, the steering, whatever. So that would be the immediate concern for those team guys, for Sanderlock to get in and have a look and see whether that car is repairable or whether there's going to be another car that will be no longer taking part.
And of course, there's not much runoff at paddock anymore. If you go wide over the curb, especially trying to take evasive action, there's no extra tarmac or grass. You're straight into the gravel. Many years ago, there was an extra wide bit of tarmac on the outside of the curbing, but that was replaced with grass and then gravel a long time ago. So you go wide, you're ensnared almost instantly. So the team of marshals and the recovery crew try and sort out the incident, and we are behind the safety car here at Brands Hatch. All of these laps count within the hour. Lukas Stoltz, Mirko Bortolotti, Nico Bastian 1, 2 and 3.
So the Yaka number 90 is at the tail of the field. That was one of the cars that we saw going through the gravel trap at paddock.
Stein Skotthorst trudges away. Calvin van der Linde 4th, Andrea Caldarelli 5th, so he's lost a place. 6th, Shea Davis, Ricky Collard is 7th, Vincent Abrel is 8th, Oscar Turco is 9th, and 10th, Charles Vietz. After that, Lazaro Vanier, Finlay Hutchison, Louis Maciels, who is leading in Pro-Am, Milan Doncha, Renat Salikov, who is 2nd in Pro-Am, Jean-Luc Bobelik is 16th, and then Wolfgang Triller, who is the only AM Cup entrant with Florian Scholzer 17th, Hamaguchi is 18th, and Menchaca 19th. So Perez Kompang, who started 8th on the grid, is 20th. No wonder when we got a shot of Dries Van Toor on the pit wall, he looked like all his rabbits had died. Not happy at all.
No, not in the least. And I mean, I spoke to both Dries Van Toor and Perez Kompang this morning, and Ezekiel said, you know, I'm up for it. I'm really going to give him one. And in this instance, it wasn't his issue, but he got involved in it. And I said, well, are you going to be like an unguided missile? And actually, Dries Van Toor thought it was very funny. He's not thinking it's very funny now.
Yes. So he's got a lot of work to do. So the cars come over the timing line. And we are still with a clear-up operation to be completed. So Lukas Stoltz, the race leader, the incident at turn 1 is under investigation, but it can be very hard to apportion blame, I would have thought. Everyone going for the same bit of tarmac. Stoltz, Bortolotti, Bastian. Nico Bastian leading in the Silver Cup, of course. Brady champion there. Van der Linde 4th, Caldarelli 5th, Shea Davis 2nd in Silver Cup, running in 6th place. So there's the undignified size of the Phoenix Audi hoiked out of the way. Phoenix is not having a good morning. Its GT4 car was crashed in the second stint of the earlier race, and it's now had a crash with its GT3 car here at Brands in GT3.
People forget when they come to Brands Hatch that it is a very unforgiving racetrack. I mean, that's what makes it such an attractive circuit, because it is ultra old school. But if you have an error, you make an error, you go off, coming out of the case of Sheen Curve in the GT4 event, or if you've just watched here in paddock in this GT3 run, there are very few places you can get away with it.
And Ezekiel Perez Kompang had to take evasive action. The positive is he's still in the race. The negative is, and you'll see it in replay now, how many places he lost. So, up the curb goes Skotthorst. He was trying to get past Caldarelli, wasn't he?
There's no way. He got 2 wheels over the curb. That hooked the car. There's the impact. That's a big impact in that right front corner. So that probably is the reason why there's concern from Markus Winkelhock when he looked at it when the car came back into the pits, whether there is sufficient damage or not.
Yeah, that was the Winkelhock car getting out of the gravel, wasn't it? Stephen Palette's car there.
Oh, okay.
So the Attempto car of Skotthorst, and here you go again. This is Van der the
number 1, compact.
Yeah. So he's avoiding it all and dropping places as a result, gets out of the gravel. So big drama as ever at Brands Hatch. Turn 1, lap 1, and we lose effectively 3 cars. 1 in the pits, 2 in the gravel. changes the view downhill, but of course now Compank has lost so many places and his tyres are covered in muck from going through the gravel bed. So that's the Stein Scott horse car. That was the catalyst. Up the curb, spun, went off, and then all hell broke loose behind.
I mean, one would say, looking at that car, it's got more chance of being repaired and prepared for the second race later this afternoon.
So one more lap at least behind the safety car. And the road is pretty much clear, I would suggest. The cars are on the inside of what would be a rallycross track now, the bottom of what used to be called Tumble Downhill, the rallycross part of the circuit on the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Christian Engelhardt there looking at the data with the Grasser guys, working out whether Mirko Bortolotti is going to be able to make his move. We've lost effectively 10 minutes now of the race, haven't we?
Yes, so there's going to be another 15 minutes before pit lane is open for the mandatory pit stop for driver and tyre changes.
Drivers reporting there is debris on the road up at turn 2, and therefore can that be removed?
Yeah, I'm just looking on this on camera. You could see there was something, whether it was rubber or debris, and there was a lot of debris from the GT4 race this morning on pit straight when one of the Mercedes ran wide coming out of clearways and came across the racetrack and scattered the carbon fibre. Literally, I've never seen it. It was like an airplane accident. So that's the concern with carbon fibre. If it gets onto the racetrack, it cuts tyres down like a knife.
Absolutely. Well, the safety car is in at the end of this lap. So safety cars can breed safety cars. Hold on to your hats. Let's see what happens now. Mirko Bortolotti needs, and he knows this, to be on his toes because he's got one golden chance at jumping Lukas Stolz. It didn't quite happen at the start of the race. Can he do it on the restart of the race? Otherwise, that Mercedes will build a gap.
Yeah, the thing that he's got Nigel's advantage is he's had a number of laps, albeit behind the safe, or running at this low pace under a safety car full course yellow. So he knows maybe more than he knew when the lights went out as to precisely what the car might do. So it's going to be his one shot, either into Paddock Hill Bend if he gets a good run, or think about it up into Druids. Thereafter, as the laps go by, it will become more and more of a challenge for Bortolotti to get past the number 4 Mercedes.
So down they come then, and it is Lukas Stolz that will lead them away on this restart. Everybody now starting to bunch up once again. It's Stolz that will control the pace as the cars accelerate away. So Lukas Stolz has got a good restart, that to jump ahead of Bortolotti. Bastian is third, but Mirko Bortolotti losing out as there. Look over the timing line. Collard versus Abril for 7th place. Vincent Abril lines him up beautifully on the inside line. The gap is there, through he goes. Vincent Abril gains a place, new to Mercedes this year, but Ricky Collard fights back as they make the climb up towards Druids. Gets a face full of the back of the Mercedes, but Stolz for Black Falcon it is that leads the race.
Yeah, Ricky Collard sort of opened the door up to let the Mercedes come through, and then he decided to come back as best he could up into Druids. Didn't quite get the job done, but the number 88 Mercedes, Vincent Abril, clearly we know that car's a quick car. The Aston certainly showed good reaction in terms of coming back. So
onto the Grand Prix loop they go. This is lap 6. And the battle is on because Collard now is under increasing pressure from the Audi of Oscar Chunico, then the Colombian driver right there behind him as they turn into the right-hander of Hawthorns. And as the cars accelerate now in through the right of Westfield, Andrea Caldarelli running at the moment in 5th place. Let's see what progress can come from that. So we've got the cars into Sheen Curve, then on towards Stirling's, turn left, green flags fly, but Stolz is building this lead.
Yeah, in the meantime, you've got Vincent Abril all over the back of Shea Davis, and the Audi, he'll want to clear the Audi as quickly as possible. That's the gap that's built up. So the 88 needs to make progress. Shea Davis doing what he has to do, just driving his own race. Ricky Collard lining up, and you're now going to get a group of maybe 4 or 5 cars all lining up behind what is the 6th place Audi of Shea Davis.
There is a stop-go penalty for Andrea Caldarelli for causing the collision at turn 1. Andrea Caldarelli is being given a 1-minute stop-go penalty for causing the collision at turn 1, John.
Well, I wonder, was that an onboard camera on Caldarelli's car that might have picked up that incident?
Interesting, isn't it? So the stewards have had a look, and a 60-second stop-go penalty for 563 for causing a collision. Wow.
Well, you know,
Stein Scott Horst's car forced up the curb. The stewards say Caldarelli has a case to answer, and he will answer it by stopping in the pit lane for 1 minute. The car in 5th place effectively now is written out of the result because it's going to tumble down the field.
I would like to see that footage to get a feel for what the reason this judgment has been made. Remember, it's the first lap into Paddock Hill Bend. It is a difficult corner. You're looking out for yourself. You're not necessarily always looking out where other cars are around you. But the judgment's been made, so that 1 minute penalty for car 536. 563, not 36.
So that is going to go down like a broken lift as far as Caldarelli is concerned. He is not going to take kindly to that. He'll want to come and get the 62nd, that's the best part of a lap, penalty out of the way as quickly as comes into Clark Curve. Does he go for the pit lane now?
No.
We haven't heard him shout no over the engine though, but he will not be pleased at all, will he?
I don't know how soon he will have the notification, whether it's done by radio or whether it'll be a visual and radio. And what sometimes happens, we've seen it in the past, is the team manager will go immediately up to the race director or the stewards and say, you know, we want to argue this before we actually take the penalty.
Team manager is Caldarelli, isn't he? Of course, he's in the car.
Somewhat difficult, actually.
Yeah, you can't do the arguing, you're quite right. So, Caldarelli has this Damocletian stop-go. Stoltz leads Bortolotti, and Bortolotti has done the fastest lap of the race. It's game on! Mercedes leads Lamborghini onto the Grand Prix loop. Stoltz is being caught by the Italian.
Catch but overtake, always the difficulty here at Brands Hatch. Wherever you are, you can catch, you can be a second a lap quicker than the lead car, whichever car that might be. But where do you find a way past?
Caldarelli's dander is up, as they say. He's just done the absolute best in the first sector, so he might not be able to win the race, but he's a very angry Italian, that's for sure, as the cars now blast up towards Sheen Curve.
Yeah, his focus clearly is on what he's doing behind the wheel, not necessarily what is being communicated from the pit lane, but this is the battle for the lead. But what's interesting is Nico Bastian is running more or less at the same pace that we're seeing from Marco Bortolotti. So this group of cars, again, you're talking about one car holding up a lead or a group of cars. The pace of Lucas Stoltz is never something short of pretty impressive. But right now, he's all of a tenth of a second on the last lap slower than Marco Bortolotti.
So Stoltz goes through, and the gap to the eye is up. Yeah, it is, by 2/10 there. So on that lap he gets away. Now Caldarelli has got 3 passings of the timing line. So he's had 2. He's gone over the timing line twice since that message came up on the screen. You're on board with him, and Caldarelli running at the moment in 5th place.
The reality is, once you've been advised, and we don't know at what point Caldarelli got the message, but once you've been advised, you should take that penalty at the earliest opportunity, get it over and done with, and just get on with your race. The longer you go into the race, you're basically